Yeah.
You got me, Tom. You got me.
The only way I could corner you, one of my favorite women in the whole world, one of my favorite inspirers, creator of the "If They Can Do It, So Can I."
No, Tom. They made it. So can I. The fifth grade speaker series. That's it.
If they made it, so can I.
The longest marketing name in history.
That's right. We're at the University of Massachusetts in Boston. Beautiful lunch, and so. You know, I always wanted, I don't know if even asked you this ever, how did it start?
It actually started because my older son was in a fifth grade class. It was a very tough class. There were 5 bullies in that particular class. And what I wanted to literally do was distract the students, get them to think about something else. So I started bringing speakers in. I was working in radio at that time, and I brought some radio disc jockeys, some people in the limousine business, and the students really, really enjoyed them, and the speakers made them think about their lives, what they were doing right and what they were doing wrong. That was the beginning of it about 10 years ago.
I'm sitting here with open mouth. I didn't know this story. Yes. That's fantastic. What were you doing in radio?
I worked for WILD Radio for 5 years.
Did you?
Yes,
what were you doing?
I was an account executive, a salesperson. I did some voice, a little bit of voice work also as well.
I grew up with WILD.
Well, I was there for 5 years.
Unbelievable. It was, you know, of course, it's the predominant black station and played all the soul music.
Absolutely.
Growing up in Roxbury, that's where I cut my teeth on James Brown.
Skippy White.
Yeah, Skippy White, who ended up with Kiss.
That's right.
And a total success story.
Absolutely.
So, the kids must have loved these DJs coming.
Well, the interesting thing, and that's where the nuggets of success came from. The DJ that we brought in that year was LBD, Little Big Daddy, and they all knew about him. He was actually on Hot 977 at that time, associated with WILD, and they thought they were getting one thing, but what they got was a college graduate and someone that explained, and they wondered why he spoke a little differently. He said, well, you've got to know English. And he said, well, you've got to know math because I'm also the business person and the project manager. You have to know how to write because I help with the commercials. And I also am responsible for the program budget. So you've got to know accounting, etc. So what they learned was that radio was much more than they ever thought it would be. And they learned that there were many, many professions within the field of radio. And they learned that they still had to work. And they still had to know how to read and how to write and how to do math. And they made a connection between what the teachers were teaching and where you would end up in your particular profession.
Right. And to me, the most fascinating thing about it is that, I don't know if this is the right word, but when you're in school, you're taught a lot of times by people who went to school, who then stayed in school, moved on, went to college, then came back to school, and don't have that outside experience. And they can't connect on that level because they've never done it. So, I think this program is just phenomenal because you bring in go ahead, some of the people you bring in.
Well, let me jump back for a second. The reason that the students connect is that the job of the speaker is to tell your personal story from when you were 10 years old in 5th grade to the present. So it's not a career day, it's not a lecture, it's the person's personal story.
Okay.
And all of the trials and tribulations and successes and failures that happened along the way, the great families, the not so great families, it all comes out with the stories of the speakers. We have psychiatrists, we have architects, we have lawyers, we have chefs, we have bakers, we have magicians. We have a lot of magicians. A lot of magical people in this program.
So you expose them to a wide variety of possible professions and careers and dreams.
Yes, and yes, a wide variety, but also I always tell the speakers, if you are a CEO of a corporation, I always say you're just as important a speaker as the barber, as our barber.
Right.
They're both equally as important because they're both successful.
Right, exactly.
And so everybody's important. It's a level playing field. We were not CEOs when we were 10 years old.
Right, yeah, exactly. I just get, did you focus on the story as being the key point of the whole thing?
Yes, the story is the most important part to me, which means anybody can be a part of this program.
Now, did you have that in mind when your attention was to take this class where there were all these bullies and try to give them a focal point somewhere out of that to get them going? Did you say, okay, I'm going to have people tell their stories, or did you just bring in a speaker and then start to see the thing evolve?
Well, no, my intention from the very beginning was to have folks tell their stories, because I needed the students to understand that these were real people, and some of them had been through the exact same scenarios that the students were. And actually, I have some favorite speakers that were bullies when they were in 5th grade. So depending on the class, even nowadays, if I know there's a class that is having a tough time, there are a lot of bullies, I will bring in my adult that was a bully at that time. And she will go through, how she was, why she was, and then how she changed and why she changed.
Interesting. So what happened to this situation with your son? Did you see an effect?
Well, he's still working on it. He's still working on it. Work in progress, still working.
But I mean, did he see any results from the bullies?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was, in general, it was a tough year. It was a tough
Sure,
year.
sure.
I can't say we did a full turnaround, but that year provided the seed to the program. And so we came, the teachers, my son graduated, he did a great job, he graduated and went on, and I came back to the teachers and I said, well, my son's graduated, do you still want the program? And so we continued the program at that time.
Well, I just interviewed somebody on the radio show whose daughter was being bullied because she had a lazy eye. And it gave the inspiration for books. So, and it's everything I talk about when I talk about adversity.
That's right.
Is the creation, the motivator for creativity. So 10 years, do you hear anything from previous years, kids coming back or talking?
Actually, one of our speakers, Dr. Omar Reed, he recently told me a story about being at a gas station, a very tall young man helping him out at the gas station. He was maybe 23, and the gentleman came over and said, you remember me, you remember me? And he said, no, I don't remember you. And he said, A's and B's are scholarships and C's and D's are loans. And that's one of Dr. Omar Reed's famous quotes. And the gentleman's in college. And he said he never forgot what the speaker said. And that is the program. That is the program.
I'm coming in, of course, from the speaker down to the kid, but I can only imagine myself. I don't remember ever anything like this in all the years I went through grammar, high school, even college. And so, I mean, to me, it's profound, and it's especially what we talk about is that, give them a story and show them the success, and also how, in my case, it started from adversity, but that if they can make it, so can I.
They made it, so can I.
They made it, so can I. All right, so what's been the biggest struggle for you with all of this? Is the money?
Well, number one, the project is always fun. And this year we will embark on more formal fundraising. So clearly, the more funding, the more support we have, the more schools we can be in. We're in 3 schools now. We hope to be in 5 to 6 schools next year. And with more funding, we will hopefully be everywhere.
Yeah, no, I totally believe in it, and to me, I can't tell you how invaluable it is for me to get back in the schools and see what's going on now, which you gave me the gateway to have now a radio show in which predominantly I'm asking educators and psychologists, because I get to see firsthand the problems and the benefits and the better schools and what they're doing. And so to offer some, because things have got to shift, don't you think?
Sure, absolutely. And they will with us. We're going to shift it all.
God, this was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
you for always being there for us. Thank you.